Well, folks, it's December 31st, 2019. It's the end of the year, and it's the end of the decade. And you know what that means? Another year-end review here at CelGenStudios. I've already gone and made a list of things here that we're going to discuss, and I'll try and make this somewhat short. But I'm also going to be answering some of your questions tonight as well. But let's get over with the basics, and that is my year in review. So, the big thing that's been dominating was my storage space. So for those who don't know what happened there, every year since I've been living in this house, we've been having a problem with our storage space where it gets wet. Rainwater gets in and it causes a problem. You know, mildew, high humidity, not really the ideal place to be storing stuff. But nonetheless, I've been having to deal with it for just about 15 years now. Unfortunately, I just got fed up with it this spring and decided it's time to do a complete and total renovation. Now, this was a fairly substantial renovation. Everything got cleared out of there. The repairs were done, some mold and mildew issues were taken care of, new shelving, and of course, new lighting. It's much nicer in there. There is definitely new shelving. Does it store more stuff? Not really. The capacity has really remained the same, but the advantage is now I can get to a lot more stuff without having to move too much more stuff around. Storage is, still a problem otherwise. Another thing that's happened this year, we have a new vehicle, or in fact, I have a new vehicle. I used to be driving for the last 10 years a 1992 Geo Tracker. Great little car, but after about 500,000 kilometers, a lot of things start to wear out on it. So you think to yourself, well, let's get something a little bit nicer, something that's actually four-wheel drive, because two-wheel drive trackers exist. So I got myself a 1982 AMC Eagle and thought to myself briefly, it's going to be okay to have a vehicle that's 10 years older with half the mileage, and have proceeded in the meanwhile to spend an enormous amount of money on it. That is entirely my fault. But it's a nice car otherwise, and, well, do I really want to keep a little Japanese box that's going to rust out anyways? No. The Eagle at least doesn't have any rust on it. But what else do you expect for a 37-year-old car? Because, however, I had to do the renovations in the storage room, this was all ongoing, so there have been some repairs that had to be deferred. Some of these were quite costly. We'll get into that in a little bit here as well. Another thing we're going to round up on here is the Vintage Computer Festival. So that was the event I went to back in the spring. I did my Apple Talk show there, and it went over fantastic. I won an award there. People liked it. I just talked with other people there. I talked with some of my YouTubers who were there and met me as well. I hope you all enjoyed the show as well. I would very much like to go into that next year as well. We'll take a look and see what happens there. But the big thing about this year is that we are finally into social networking. Social networking is fantastic because it now means for me I don't have to specifically stick to YouTube videos for the small stuff, and you don't have to fret the small stuff as well when I'm not releasing a video once every week. CelGenStudios has been an amazing Twitter handle, and if some of you have seen, I just broke 400 tweets since I opened the account in May. There is a lot there, and that was the goal. A lot of little tiny projects or long ongoing projects can now be shown off in a much easier format. Plus, I've been able to connect with people I didn't know I actually already knew. So that was pretty neat as well. And now comes the difficult part, which kind of comes into the whole storage room renovation thing, and that is availability. Again, these videos are completely unpaid. Not the funnest thing in the world when you have to somehow make everything continuously run with momentum, and, well, not the greatest thing as well when you have people who are expecting you to make more videos. Okay, yeah, that's true, but again, a job takes priority and a car takes priority. And if my stuff is damaged, well, I lose the content to make my videos. So I do apologize for those giant gaps there. The storage room renovation went on for 7 months. I didn't get all my boxes packed away again until just before the snow fell. So that just tells you how busy I've been working on this. I've had no weekends to myself all year. But that's over with. And we are done with the year in review quite quickly here. But now let's move on to the next thing, and I wanted to go and ask you to ask me questions. So I left a message on my Twitter feed back at the beginning of December for you to leave me questions regarding what exactly you wanted to make me answer on a YouTube video, such as the year-end review. I received 0 questions. So I had to make up a list and hold a couple people ransom on Steam and Discord to see if they could come up with a couple of questions they'd love to ask me in a video. Well, here we are. And now I have 20 questions that are available in no particular order, but they are grouped a little bit that I will spend a bit of time here to answer for you. And we'll start with number 20. What's with that sick beard? You mean my facial hair here? Well, the reality is it's cold. And this here, yeah, facial hair, it's pretty good for doing a windbreak thing. Plus, also, I think it's all the other people are doing these days. As well, I think it came from No Shave November, way the hell back in like 2012, 2013. Either way, here's a photograph of me without facial hair. And yeah, it's not a fun thing. So that's why I have this here. I hope you like it. Don't complain about my fingernails being dirty. I'm a busy person. Number 19. What machines did you start your collection with? I remember there was an XT clone and a Commodore VIC-20. The VIC-20 belonged to my uncle. I forget where the XT clone came from. But there was basically a maze game on there. There was Wheel of Fortune. There was Math Blaster. And sometimes when I had fun, I would go over to my grandparents' place, and they had like a 286 machine. And it actually had like VGA level graphics. So I was able to have fun with games like Monster Bash or Alien Carnage. Though now that I think about that, wasn't that a 486 game? It was a little bit demanding. Anyways, those two machines there, so an XT clone and a Commodore VIC-20 were my first machines I started with. How big is my collection is number 18. Huge. This is not just old computers. This is old electronics. This is a mix of small appliances. This is lighting fixtures. These are knickknacks and odds and ends. There's a lot of stuff I have. I think when it comes to computers alone, there's some 50 different machines in my collection, spanning practically every professional and consumer architecture. That does not include the mainframe architectures, but that's just simply because those are huge, and obviously, aside from my AS400, I don't really have much space for stuff like that. Alright, number 17. If you had access to unlimited funds and space, how much space do you think just the stuff you have in storage would take up? I think this comes on the fact that, again, like I said, I don't have all the storage space I need for what I currently have boxed. Like shelving with boxes running down the middle there so I can reach everything. I would say I need at least 600 square feet of space with shelving all over the place to store everything I currently have that's already in storage. That's a significant amount of space, especially these days, and especially here in the Pacific Northwest, where real estate is quite expensive. Alright, number 16. How much power would your collection draw if you plugged everything in and turned it all up to 11? I've actually tried this before here. With the CellNet servers and the networking equipment there, if I run everything, that is a 40 amp, 240 volt circuit breaker that's getting warm. I can say at least 80 watts, everything running full tilt. That's every machine in the collection. Did I say 80 watts? No, 80 amps. There's thousands of watts at play here. Remember, the SGI Onyx alone is 1500 watts on the OLS power supply. There is a stupid amount of energy here. Is it efficient? No. Is it processor efficient? No. Is it fast for the time? Very. Number 15. What was your first UNIX machine? That one I can specifically remember, and I still own it. It was a Silicon Graphics Personal Iris 4020. It had 16 megs of RAM. It has a 600 megabyte SCSI drive in it, full height, so full height 5¼ inch, and it runs IRIX 405, if I remember. It's buried away right now, but I do know that it does still work, and I've actually done some repairs on it over the years when I had an E module on it fail at some point between when I got it in 2005 and when I last saw it in like 1998 or something like that. But I do know that as of most recently, within the last year and a half, it did run. So there you go. That was my first Unix machine. Number 14, what car do you drive? Well, I've already explained this one here earlier on in the review, but I do drive a 1982 AMC Eagle. Some people call this the first crossover vehicle. Some people say it's an excellent four-wheel drive vehicle. In reality, it's an all-wheel drive vehicle. I drive the station wagon model. It has this golden brown color to it. It has the select drive. It has a rear window defogger, but defogger, there we go. And it has no air conditioning, which is strange for the Eagle because almost every Eagle I've seen has air conditioning. But it has a working emissions system, which is a very difficult thing to find these days because no one really knows how to maintain the damn things. So there you have it. That's the vehicle I drive right now. Number 13, how much power does the Eagle make? I don't have any numbers off the top of my head right now, but I think that if I could make a number, I would say at the crank, it's 110 horsepower, and we are looking at something like a dozen of those horses breaking their legs and having to be put down before any of that power reaches the tires at all. Number 12. Who is your favorite YouTuber of 2019? I really want to say Akpakuku / Tech Tangents is my favorite YouTuber of 2019. But I'm going to be honest here, I didn't really watch many of your videos before I knew of you existing, Shelby. Sorry about that. Your videos are good, but I just feel like it would be biased for me to suddenly say, wow, you're amazing. I mean, seriously, for you folks out there, you have to watch his videos. They're just that good. In reality, I'm going to say for this year, I like Captain Disillusion. I like the content that he makes. It's very consistent in that it's like every couple of months / every couple of years. He doesn't make a lot of videos, but they're all very detailed. The quality he puts into it is fantastic. Just look at the post-production he does on it. And he has that little tiny bit of self-deprecating humor, which I really do enjoy. Number 11. What was working with Linus like? So for you that don't know where I was during July, I was at LTX, or Linus Tech Expo 2019. I was working with my sponsor, Disappearing Inc., who was working alongside then Akpakuku, now Tech Tangents, on a vintage computing and gaming setup that was going on at the very back of the Vancouver Convention Center. Canada Place Convention Center. It was a pretty huge hall. It was fantastic. And even though we were at the back of this hall, we were huge. We always had people cramming into the booths. But I digress here. We're talking about Linus. Linus is a really good guy. Sure, I know he tries to play that he's clumsy, but I really expected him to be kind of a dick. You have Linus and his goon squad of guys from LMG. I didn't see that. They were all nice, they were all friendly, and when my last benefit of the doubt was going to be played, which was right at the end of LTX, I was expecting they would say, hey, it's all done, we're done LTX. Thank you for all coming. We hope to see you all next year. Okay, boys, let's get out of here. Let's go hit up the clubs now. He didn't do that. He hung around. We were packing up even at 9:30 at night, and he was still around, and he was packing things up with us. He was really dedicated to LTX. It really did make me think differently of him. He's a great guy. For the limited amount of time that I got to see him and I got to talk to him, he was great. Number 10, will you be at LTX in 2020? I'm aware that LTX 2020 was just announced not long ago. Whether or not I'm going to be there, I don't know yet. This is entirely a thing that I'm aware Disappearing Ink received an email from Linus Media Group, and I'm keeping out of it because I really have no responsibilities in this besides just helping to maintain the tables. This is totally up to LMG, Disappearing Ink to deal with. I'm out of this one entirely. Maybe I'll be there, maybe I won't. I did ask Linus if I brought along my Silicon Graphics Onyx, would DreamHack be able to accommodate for something like that? Remember, that's a big machine. So we do 1,500 watts of SGI supercomputing plus a 21-inch CRT monitor. Like, that's a lot of power, and DreamHack's power requirements are saying, like, something stupid small. So he said perhaps they could accommodate. We'll see what happens. Again, LMG, it'd be great to know something about this, please. Number 9, how many videos will you make in 2020? My plan here is to make 20 videos. Releasing a video once a week is extremely time-consuming. It's draining. I have other things I'm doing all the time. I have other projects outside of YouTube that I'm doing. 20 videos means that I could have one video every 2 weeks. That gets me about 40 weeks or pretty much through the year, and gives me another 12 weeks to do whatever I want. If I need to skip a week, I can do that. If I'm going on vacation, I can do that. If I have other arrangements which prevent me from actually producing the videos, that works in my favor. Number 8, how much is making videos costing you in general? That's a good question. Now, Disappearing Ink did a fantastic job last year and supplied me with my hard disk Firewire recorders, which are giving me a little bit more life out of my standard definition video cameras. The truth is, however, is that I've had situations where I'll record the footage, and then when I go to start editing, I find, oh, one of the cameras has corrupt video. Oh, this one here also records my audio. I have to go back and do it again. This can be extremely time-consuming, but more importantly, and a few people around me have seen and heard, it's extremely frustrating as well. Adding money into this here, like we'll discuss about new cameras. The audio equipment I have right now is getting pretty old, but whatever. But for financial costs, yeah, there you go. For like time-consuming, it is quite time-consuming. I have to set time aside. I have to make arrangements with my parents, who have oh so graciously let me do all this recording in their basement, so I don't have any interruptions while I'm recording, because sometimes it may interrupt an entire set of videos that I'm doing, and this can cause either continuity errors, or more importantly, it could cause, like if it's a single shot, I can't redo it again, it can screw that up. Even people walking around upstairs can be a problem with noise suppression installed. Number 7, any new sponsors? This year was big because I did add, officially for the full year, Disappearing Ink and the Hackery. If you don't know what the Hackery is, it's Vancouver's computer emporium. They're located at 304 Victoria Drive in Vancouver, British Columbia. They do low-cost computer repairs. They do low-cost computer sales. They have a lot of parts. They have a lot of junk. If you ask them maybe what they have, maybe they'll have something for you. For vintage computing, they did a lot of that as well. They are, however, shifting a little bit over towards letting Disappearing Ink handle that now. Disappearing Ink is literally in the same building, runs somewhat similar to the same hours. The guy who's running that, you can contact him. Look in the description below, and you should be able to find all those details. He's an amazing resource. Tech Tangents can vouch for him because he went into the warehouse, and there was just this moment of like, oh my god. And remember that Tandy Terminal he was working on? Yep. Not only do I know where that came from, which was Disappearing Ink, but I remember pulling that out of a storage locker many years ago. So the history on this goes back, and it's very nice to see this kind of technology get into the hands of other people and play with it as well. I really do hope you like that terminal, Shelby. Number 6. Do you like your job / would you go part-time to do more on YouTube? It's difficult for me to really explain exactly what I do for a living, just due to the contracts that I have signed. So I'll make it simple on this here. I fix slot machines and I fix lottery and gambling devices. A lot of this equipment is very old equipment, so you do take pride in saying, hey, I know this, and I know this, and the other guys don't know about this. And there's a lot of other cool little hacks that you've done over the years, like for recapping Socket 370 motherboards, that you can apply in this environment that speeds up your time. It makes the quality of your work look a lot better. And overall, your responsibility ends up being that sometimes you get to see your repair tag in a location in public. And that makes me very proud. Would I go part-time in that job to do more on YouTube? No. And that goes into number 5. How much do I get paid at work? I'm going to be honest about this one here because this is one of those things where I'm not entirely proud of. For all the tech work I do, with no education, it means, unfortunately, that the pay grade on the jobs that I can find are really low. And because of what I do, even after the 2% raise I saw this year, I make $14.27. My pay raise this year per hour was less than 25 cents an hour. I like the job, I don't like the pay, and there's really nothing I can do about that. Would I go part-time right now because of just how low my pay is? No, I have nothing that could really offset that kind of pay. Number 4, will you improve your lighting at least? I'm assuming you're talking about the lighting here on the set. I'm using track lighting that I have set up in a U pattern, or actually an E pattern now, to improve the lighting that's in this room. Now this is all like dollar store off-the-shelf lighting. I don't actually have any like specialty broadcast lighting because white balance I'm going to have to throw out the window, and I don't really have the space for having that kind of equipment even semi-permanently installed inside of this room. This track lighting is great because I can move lamps anywhere around the room I want. I can turn lamps on, I can turn lamps off, I can spin them around. They're great, and it didn't cost me that much to add this track lighting. I think it was about $75. This is the improvement right now. Can I improve on it much more? I don't think so. We'll see what happens. I think at this point here we're more limited to the light sensitivity of the cameras I'm using, so that may be our bigger problem here regarding lighting. Number 3, what was my most successful video of the decade? SkyTrain Skyway. That was a runaway success. Last I saw, it was like 56,000 views, and for the most part, that all happened over the course of 1 week. It was a huge video. That was a video I started work on in 2012. For a follow-up video, for a number of years, I actually tried to redo it again and again and again, but in reality, I just lost interest in it. Now, there is some nice changes you get to see in the other videos. These videos are currently not available on YouTube, and I may put them up in the future. We'll see entirely, but I've never been able to match that video. My CRT cataracts video has gained a couple thousand views. I've seen a couple thousand views in a couple of other videos, but for the most part, I usually look at my video statistics pretty much never. I just look at the view counts more or less, and it's like, okay, that one has 200. Okay, that one has 150. I've had videos where I've spent a couple of days working on them, and by the end of the day, yeah, okay, 75 views, whatever. That goes hand in hand, and why would I not go part-time and working on YouTube? There's no money to be made here. Number 2, however, are you going to try crowdfunding/Patreon? This is something that's come up now 3 times in 3 different years and over multiple people in my comments and suggestions. I feel like it's an obligation. Like at that point there, it is a job. You are paying me to make my videos to a set consistency, to a set quality, and to a set availability. I don't know how much money you'd be willing to give me. I understand that money can only go into the channel itself. So this could be merchandise, it can be equipment upgrades, it could be lighting upgrades. Just given what's happened in the last year, I don't think it would be wise for me at this time to start asking people for money to make more videos. Maybe this is something I can work out with Disappearing Ink or something like that for supplying me with slightly better equipment, but I think it's more of a case of just discounting me of some of the stuff that they might already find lying around. And finally, for number 1, we have, why are you not in high definition yet? And that is correct. This video here is 720 by 480 in widescreen standard definition. The reality is this video was supposed to be the big reveal. Congratulations, I'm in high definition now. But I'm not actually in high definition yet. The goal here was, going back to the beginning of the year, I wanted to set aside $1,500 and buy myself 3 used Canon T3i digital cameras. Just the bodies. I can supply the lenses no problem. New batteries and memory cards are no problem. But this would be the absolute minimum I believe I could do to get HD on 3 different cameras for 3 different angles in flash storage, so goodbye hard drives, and really after that all I have to do is figure out a new digital audio recording setup, and that was about it. Unfortunately, that AMC Eagle has cost me more in headaches than it has in actual, well, profitability. And that is, it's made me no money at all, obviously, because it's a car I consume use out of. That $1,500 had to be spent in early December to deal with wheel bearings and a couple other critical repairs, such as a wheel alignment and tires, which had to be held off on during the summer because I was working on the storage room. So regretfully, I am not in high definition. I'm sorry, folks. That's just the way it works. And there we have it. That is the 20 questions applied and sent to you, or sent to me by you. That is, the people who are in Steam or in Discord who are able to give me the questions. Finally, we're going to end this video off looking forward into the future in the year 2020 and beyond. So let's look at our finances and availability. Well, unfortunately, for those who have not seen the Twitter post, I'm out of money. Like, I'm not talking I'm out of money to make YouTube videos. I'm out of money in general. Like, I ended the year with like negative $17. I'm going to have to scrape by just to get car insurance for January 1st. I don't have money to be doing YouTube videos, which means I have to spend more of my time now working overtime at work to make whatever pennies I can. I will unfortunately have to sell off some of the things I own that are projects that I've just not touched in years. This could be an old washing machine, it could be a refrigerator, just stuff like that, something to make me a couple $100 or something like that to the left, to the right. I'm hoping that by summer this is sorted out. Like, if I can get like money in the bank, all bills paid, and at least $2,000 back into savings, because I don't have any savings right now. Will be good. In the meantime, I will try working on and off on some videos. Will they be released in that consistent schedule of 2 weeks? We'll see. We'll try and make up with that. The Twitter feed is going to remain active. That is the #1 thing I've been using right now to keep in touch with you. So again, you need to go to CelGenStudios. Just start looking around, even if you just follow me, and I'm always posting stuff. I'm always talking about stuff. If you want to message me, I think I'm set up to do that, so go for it. Failing that, you can just tweet me a question or something like that. Go for it, and I can probably answer it for you there. We touched on the production schedule already. I'm looking at 20 videos or 1 video every 2 weeks. If we have to get into crunch time here, sure, I will do 1 video every week. We might even do more than 1 video every week if it's really bad. But I do have a couple of ideas on paper right now. Some of them I've started already, and these are videos that are in various levels of completeness on various topics, from typewriters to fax machines, car computers to ice machines. As for technology, again, I'm hoping to get high definition working on this channel by 2020 or by the end of 2020. This is a big priority now. Come on, like, we're 20 years now into the 21st century. I should be running HD by now. Everybody around me is going HD. Why am I not HD? I'm not doing this for the nostalgia factor. Believe me on this one here. Working on the videos, we are ready for HD right now. My editing suite is all set up. I have a couple of loose hard drives I can use to store files for intermediate terms. Again, because I haven't had the money, I've run into multiple server failures since October. One case, I lost my RAID and was able to rebuild it. The most recent one I've come into right now is that my Windows System disk, which is an 8 gig SCSI disk. So yes, my server's really old. That died. It didn't take everything with it. It's just currently not bootable. The goal here is that as much as I love the IBM 3583 and that old server, that like X Series 220, I need to retire it. I need to move to something more modern, SATA, like fault-tolerant disks, newer disks that won't die, and terabytes of disk storage. It'll consume less power, it'll take up less space, and I'm almost certain it's going to be way more reliable. This obviously will impact my access to resources right now because that server is down. So I do have like photographs, PDFs, and other documentation. I have some of that locally, but everything else is currently on the server. And, well, until that's fixed, there's nothing I can really do about that. And there you have it. So, with that out of the way, I would like to thank everyone for sticking around for this video and listening for what I had to say. I wish the best for all of you in the year 2020, and hope to see you again next year. And until next time, have a good one.